Okay.
All right, welcome to Energy Readings with Shelby Aesthetic. Thanks for everybody for coming tonight. And I have a guest tonight, Salina B. I do have, we're going to end just a little bit earlier than we suspected. It's no big deal, though. It's just about 15 minutes early. So we'll stay on until about 7:15. Yeah, no problem. All right, so I'm going to pull Salina's stuff up, and then I'm going to add some links when she starts talking to the chat, and that way you guys can connect in with her if you'd like to. I'll start out with saying that there's not going to be a show next week, but then the following week I'll be back on. I will probably be by myself on that show. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, all right, so let's get started. I'm so excited to have Salina on tonight. We go way, way back. I got to see her birth her son, her youngest son. So that was pretty. I was going to say it was cool. It was kind of weird, but it was really neat. It was really neat. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. But he's such a cool kid. Most of your kids are. Yeah, well, both of them are amazing. So you're and you're an incredible person, and we have a lot of stuff to go over before we start doing some readings. So let me go ahead and get started on that. So all right, so I'm going to start with the Spice Radio stuff, okay? Because Salina does. She's like she books music for different venues in our city. So she's an artist and an author, and she does all kinds of stuff. She writes for a magazine, a local punk zine here. She's on Facebook also, Red Magic Salina, if you want to look her up. She's also on IntuiTalks, salinabrilla.intuitalks.com, and I'm going to put these links in the chat room.
They are works in progress, so...
Hey, it's okay. At least people will be able to connect with you.
Exactly. Right, exactly. Connect with me, and things will just keep getting better from there.
Well, so tell me a little bit about this, the podcast first. Let's start with that. How did you even get started? How did you do that? How did you even get involved in that?
Okay, well, here in town, it's called Spice Radio, and it's a non-for-profit organization, and they were doing things like interviewing, and they also have a recording studio there. So they had asked me if I wanted to come in when I was booking shows regularly and do the weekly, lineup for what was coming, like Monday, Tuesday, and do that. So I started out just coming in on Saturdays and reading off what was happening for the week, which was good for me because I booked shows many days, out of the week at the time. So it was a great way for me to promote it. And then one day we were just talking. I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if we did a show that featured songs from the artists who are coming? And that's how Red Magic began. It was just Red Magic is you and two other people, right? No, well, actually, Red Magic Imports, it's called Red Magic Imports, and it's the music that I have that is coming in. And then sometimes just local music that gets played too. We try not to make it too long. It's usually between 20 to 45 minutes, depending. I think the longest was like 40 minutes because we don't want to, keep people, it's not aired live. It's pre-recorded, so you can tune in and listen to it at any time you want on Spice Radio Huntsville. But really, it's called, I didn't know what to call what I do because people are always like, well, what do you do, Salina? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I had a magical music calendar is what I called it at that time because basically I would just kind of think of some kind of music I'd want to see or hear, and then before I'd know it, it'd just kind of show up. So I started calling it magic. I was like, I'd want to see some rockabilly music, and then a rockabilly band would message me. Or how cool would it be if we had this?
This started happening years before you started doing the intuitive work. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. The music booking
awesome.
would have been like, yeah.
Because it really ended up tying in together. And I've talked to so many people where music is such an incredible part of their spiritual journey, and you do a lot of like punk music too, so you do good music.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks for saying that. Not everybody does. I do.
Me.
Well, basically, I've always had more of like a connection with sort of like the underground, with people who are not necessarily mainstream. Like even when I was younger, I used to work on Clark and Belmont in Chicago. Like when I was like 18, I used to work like graveyard shifts from 10 at night to 6 in the morning. We had all the freaks and weirdos, and I just realized those are my people. I was like, I love you.
Yeah, really.
I love you guys.
Some of the nicest people I've ever met. Yeah.
Right, and it's different. It's not something that you're going to see all the time, and I've always definitely felt a connection to that kind of stuff, that kind of people.
So you're a freelance music booker, and that grew into the Spice Radio, right?
Right. Well, originally I got into booking music because some people just started asking me about it at the bar I worked at. I was bartending, and then it just kind of grew from doing it 1 or 2 nights a week into doing it like 5 to 7 nights a week.
And you also write for Gab, which is Gab is a local punk zine here in Huntsville also.
Yes.
So that came after the music booking.
Mm-hmm. Yep. These guys in Gadsden, which is why it's called Gad. My friend Adam Harmless, who's in Tiger Helicide, we started, I was booking bands, and he told me about the zine that he had. And the first issue, I didn't put any writing in it. I had just submitted some photos that didn't even belong to me. They belonged to a friend of mine. And then I got the Gad in the mail, and I was like, this is just so cool. It's, 8 by 10, black and white stapled together. It's just so cool.
Great artwork in it.
Oh my gosh, and it's just so, like, I'm a picker-upper. Like, when I go and I travel and I go places, like, I'll pick up a zine, or I'll pick up something to remind, that I've been there before and take it home with me. And I was like, this is like an awesome little piece of Huntsville and as well, just Alabama, period. And oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I just think it's wonderful. I think the punk scene in Huntsville has grown significantly over the last really 15 years, and I'm really happy that you're a part of it, because I think that it really needed somebody to kind of take it by the ball, so to speak, and kind of drive it. There were so many people that were wanting to be a part of the community, but for whatever reasons, they just couldn't really get it off, especially, I think, in the early part of 2000, it was probably big there for a little while, but it just sort of dwindled out. But you've had some really cool bands and stuff come through, so it's been really fun watching you pull everybody together like that.
Well, thank you. I was out with a friend of mine on Friday, and he had said, he was like, when you were booking the music at Coppertop, he was like, it was the best because you never knew what you were going to get when you walked in the door. Because I didn't only book punk, but I booked punk, metal, cowpunk, muddy, roots music. I had banjo players. I had this woman from New York come who played an upright bass and handed out pickles before the show began. Like, got a jar of pickles and handed out pickles to people. It was like one of the weirdest things. But we also had bands from Japan and Puerto Rico and France, and like that was important to me because years ago when I lived in Chicago, I worked at a world music venue. And I think that it's very important for human beings to be open to what happens in other parts of the world and in other cultures and just not limit yourself. So it was important to me, especially living in Alabama, to bring music here that isn't here, that doesn't come through here, to have a band from Japan and a band from France.
Yeah, open your mind up a little bit.
Yeah, bring some culture to people who may not ever experience something like this. So that was important to me while I was there, and I got to do that. And some of it's still coming through. Like, even though I don't necessarily work at that venue anymore, like Autonato Trio is going to be here this weekend, and so I started something, and it's continued even after I've been gone, which I think is fantastic. I think one of the coolest things
I do too. And we're actually having our city is actually having an audit right now, a music audit right now. So and you're going to be a part of that, right?
Yeah, yes. I was asked.
They must have seen your Facebook post.
Right, because I was totally like, just give me the VFW hall and I'll do all of it. But that's kind of like how it worked. Like I said, when I was booking music, it was this intention and then it would come. And they're doing this audit, and they're going to spend 14 months studying. And I'm like, well, that's not creating. If you just start creating, you'll create more, and you'll create more, and like will be drawn, and then, bam, you got it. Like I was like, please tell me you're not going to wait 14 months to do something, because
right.
that
well,
is
and I think our city's growing so fast with tech, especially younger people coming in here and into the city, and they've remade our downtown, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. So I'm like super excited that you're a part of this. I think our community in Huntsville's needed that for a while. But I'm really something really cool, because you're also a photographer, you're a painter, you know, you're an artist, you create things out of garbage even. Some cool stuff though. I mean, it's all like real heartfelt stuff. It's not just like doodles and stuff. I mean, you really sit down and pour energy into this. So this is, and I didn't get it. I didn't grab any screenshots of your artwork, but I didn't want to embarrass you. But but you have some amazing things. So you're just an all around talented person. And now watching you channel so much of this energy into the music, which brings me to the next point, because now you're doing tarot and psychic work. So, I've got to mention this too. Salina also, she makes prosthetics.
I do. I make people. That's what I do during the day.
Talk about that a little bit, because I think you want to talk about not helping the community in so many different ways. Your job is literally to help people walk again, or literally help people to pick things up again. All that stuff. I just think that's amazing. How do you even do that?
Well, currently,
was it just like a cast or?
Yeah, we get a cast, we make a mold, and then we build a prosthetic. Actually, the gentleman that I work with, he's an amputee, and he lost his leg from cancer when he was very young. He is the one that I do mostly the tech sockets and stuff, but he does like the ones that people end up walking long term on. And I think it's just amazing what he's capable of doing, because trying to be an apprentice, it's like all in his head, and he's always like, well, for this leg you have to this, and that leg you have to that, and then it's all dependent, and then they'll send him something crazy, and he's got to figure out how to get this plug through this thing, and watching him work is super amazing. I mean, I appreciate
that's
what
really
I
neat
do in
to
the
be
lab.
a part. Yeah, that's really neat to be a part of that.
Oh yeah, I do. I appreciate very much what I do, but what he does is that's a definitive of what they're going to be walking on. Yeah.
Very, very cool. So how did you go from prosthetic maker to finding time to do all of this stuff with music and the community? Because you have like 1,000 friends that you're connecting with all the time. I mean, you're in tons of different Facebook groups spreading the community message about that. How did you go from all of that and land in tarot? Because I know, in psychic stuff, because I know, Salina, that you have a long history with psychic work, or psychic experiences, rather.
Oh yeah, like all my life, yeah.
You shared a couple of really interesting stories with me, especially about when you were younger, and we talked a little bit last night about having family support and friendships support and stuff like that. I know that you endured some of your family not really being supportive of you with this. So.
Yeah, this isn't even something that I necessarily share with my family for the most part. Just because there's a lot of things that I do artistically that I just don't share with my family, because the backlash from your family is different than it is from everywhere else, and it's always, and not always, but it can be, what is this they call, your delusional stuff. And like something will happen where like I saw my sister one day in my mind, and she was at the zoo, and I messaged her and she was at the zoo. And I'm like, well, that's just connection. It's, it's not that big of a deal. But then if you have an argument or a fight, it'll be like, oh, you're delusional stuff. It's just, I think that some people who don't have the experiences don't know, they just don't know. Like they haven't had them, and it frightens them that someone else does have them. I think it's more fear than most things. And especially, I feel even more connected to people that, that you share DNA with, like my sister who's at the zoo, and then I could kind of like see through her eyes for a moment, but it happens, also with kids and so on. And it can happen with any person, but there are times where it's not intentional, like with family and stuff. It just sort of happens all of a sudden, and it's like, oh, okay, well, hey, here's the zoo, And I think she's just, or, they just get scared because they don't have that same experience.
Yeah, John in the chat room said sometimes people have a hard time challenging their own belief. I just, even Martin was talking about some spiritual experiences can be diagnosed as schizophrenia even. And I think all of that, because there is a line there between mental health, issues, which are real, and spiritual things that are happening that are real, and the discernment to know the difference between the two of them. Hey, Kathleen. The difference to know between the two of them is so scary, and I think fear plays a huge part in the role of society anyway, especially in particular regions, but fear plays such, and we have, I spoke last week about regional thought forms and state thought forms and city thought forms, and those, and basically it's just the energy of an area. It's the fear, the collective fear of an area, or the collective fear of a region, or things like that. And those things are real. We carry those with us. We carry all of that stuff with us. So kind of breaking through that, the boundaries of that, I think is not only super important to develop further spiritually, because people are going to have fear even though they're spiritual. Doesn't mean they're not going to be, have fear.
Right. I was scared to death the other night and laid in bed terrified. Like, it still happens.
But I think being able to talk about those things is so important, because knowing and finding the truth out behind those things and knowing your own power really helps you kind of go through a lot of that stuff. So, but now you're going to start doing, hopefully more tarot and psychic stuff, right? So you're kind of moving away,
and that's
move away from.
Yes, exactly. And like what you were just saying about, being able to talk about and work through those things, that's exactly like what tarot does. It opens this doorway for a conversation with yourself and another person. And I think it's very important, and it's through symbology, through numerology. All of those different things are in there, and feeling comfortable with a person and being able to open up with them. I did these live readings not long ago at Spice Radio. They were doing an all-night telethon. I got there at like 3 a.m, and I brought just a couple of decks with me, and I read every single person there, and we just had the greatest time. And even, throughout the evening, people had thanked me, and how much, there were people that were actually waiting for me to come so that they could have their cards read. And
Very
I was
cool.
like, wow, yeah, I was like, this is awesome. I was like, because, it's just, you're connecting to yourself and another person and spirit, like, that three entity, all three things, and so much good comes out of it. I had somebody afterwards who told me how that night, like, put him on a whole new path, and how it changed the way he was doing things. And I was like, that is exactly what I want to do tarot. I was like, that's exactly
no, it's sacred. It's sacred work too,
right.
To me, it's something that's important, and plus it's your truth. So
absolutely.
And it's difficult too. I had mentioned we're probably in the most open-minded part of our state, I would think, but there's still a lot of fear and a lot of closed-mindedness around it, and but to be able to overcome that and do that, especially on a local podcast. I'm like so happy for you, Salina, that you've decided to do this, because I think you're very talented. With your readings. I've watched you give readings to people, and I think you're very talented with being able to connect with their truth.
Thank you. Well, I think, and I hope I think I've always worked with people, and even when I was a bartender, it would just, it's kind of the same, you pick up on things on people, and being an empath and clairvoyant and things my whole life, it's like I always had people who they came and they talked to me, and that's what we did, and then I wouldn't see them for a couple months, and they'd come back again, and we'd go, and be like, oh,
I know, it's like you're a light switch, and all the moths, it's like they know.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they see it really even though they don't.
and I've often in my life found it absolutely wonderful that I'm able to do that for and with people. Like, I was in this empath group, and they were talking about how draining it is and how tired, and I was like, I tend at times to have the absolute opposite effect with it. Like, somebody will come in and they'll just unload all their crap, and I'll be like, do you feel better now? I feel okay. how do you feel? And they'll be like, much better. And I'm like, right on, let's just let that stuff go. Let's just, you know? And so I suppose that there are a lot of people who get very down about that, being able to do that. If you're not releasing it, if you're not, you know, letting it go. I find that I kind of have to, like, it bothers me when I don't flow through it. Like if I try to stop it, or, I don't want to deal with this, and not just let myself just let it out again. I feel like a big filter a lot. Like I feel like other people's filter, like it, but instead of you just can't let that filter get dirty, you know, or let it get stopped up on the other side. It's like as long as
that's a really interesting, well, I mean, that's such an interesting way an accurate way, I think, to describe it too, because I think a lot of times people, especially empaths, they do filter out a lot of, you know, a lot of energy. So I think that's a perfect way to describe it. And now, so tell me real quick though, what's coming up this week for you, like, or the next month with you, with music and stuff? What's coming? What are you doing with your tarot? Like, what's going on with you?
Oh, okay. Well, there's a few super exciting things. Like the new GAD 17 is being released now. There's a box of them on their way to my house. And I have a big show, June 29th, that's coming up here in Huntsville, Alabama. It's the Goddamn Gallows, Days and Days, Gallows Bound, and Trash Cats. And I'm super excited for this show because it's a show that I've always wanted to have come here. It is definitely more I don't want to say alternative, but it's music you're not going to hear, you know, at the corner pub, like in the jukebox and stuff. But there are so many people, especially here in Huntsville, that are very connected to that kind of music. And
I'm very excited about it.
Very excited about it. And it makes me excited to be able to have this show happening. And I've got different artists and vendors and stuff that are coming to set up. And I'm not charging for that because, like, these bands are very DIY, like do it yourself. So I thought it would be really great to keep it instead of like finding corporate sponsors and stuff like that. So keep your fingers crossed for me that this goes well. I skipped through the
It's going to go great, man. You're going to do great. You're a pro.
Oh, boy, I don't know about that, but we'll see. Hopefully it will. So for the next, 23 days, that's what I'm pretty much doing. And then, then we start working on the next zine that comes out after that. What I'm hoping is, with this audit, that they will see the value in what we do underground and give us some money and a space that we can do it in a grander and larger scale. I mean, for right now, it's a bunch of us like me, and none of us rich. We're, we all work our regular jobs and have our families, and then what we produce is great. Like, the Spice Radio also has Spice Rap
It's a good size scene. It's a good size scene too. It's not like it's just 2 or 3 people. So that, I think it'll attract enough. But you also have something else you're wanting to do this summer, which I thought was a freaking amazing idea, and that you want to talk about your front porch show?
Yes! Oh, I do. Okay. So I'm also working with this Rocket City Underground, and we're going to do podcasts of live music. And I also have this idea where I would love to do tarot readings on the front porch and have like a musical interlude in between. Like, do a few readings, have somebody play some music, do a few, and then, where people can just drive up and sit on my lawn, listen to the music, get some tarot readings, and podcast the whole thing. Well, kind of like a tiny guest, like they have on NPR, except that it would include both, the tarot readings and, we have different guest tarot readers and who come and, do psychic readings, but then also, because my porches, you've been on it, we did, last year we had International Music on the Porch Day on my porch, and it went perfect.
Yeah, you have a great porch. And great neighbors, too.
Yeah, and great neighbors. And then, we all sat out on the lawn and listened to the music till the sun came down. The only problem with Alabama is it's freaking hot. It's hot. So it's like
the size of birds.
Yeah, it's hot. So I don't know if that's something we'll do a little bit further into the fall, but it's definitely something that I want to get started before. Maybe we'll do the first International Music on the Porch, like we'll do it again, like the second annual, and then start it like once a month after that. That would be super cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm going to post, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm just going to put some of your links back in the chat room again for the people that just came so that they'll have it so that they can kind of connect with you.
Please.
And then, and then if if you're ready after that, you'll give me just a second. I have just a couple of things I want to talk about, and then we can get started. If there's any callers that are wanting to get readings, get ready.
Right on.
Are you ready?
Sure. Well, we talk about the decks real quick? Because I finally last night put on the Red Magic Facebook what the different decks that I have. I only have a few, but they're very different. So if you want a reading, you're like, right now I think this week I did 2 week-long readings with the Lenormand decks, because I just got a new one, the 7th Sphere Lenormand, and I use it for myself, but there's this week-long one, and it's interesting, like, the difference between them. Like traditional tarot, you've got the major arcana, the minor arcana, and the court cards, and they all speak a little differently. And then there's also the Lenormand decks that they don't run the same way. And they're read in pairs, and it's basically you pull 2 cards, and they have different symbols like the bear, the anchor. Like it's a very different kind of reading between the tarot and the Lenormand. And then the other couple of decks that I have a Spanish Nates deck, which is like a gypsy tarot deck, and I made a La Vera Sibilla, which I'm not using yet because I've not practiced enough with it. But
so you're making your own decks too, though, right?
Yeah. I have the first Lenormand deck that I made myself out of an old deck of like Chicago, they just say Chicago on the back, it was a deck of playing cards I had in the house. And these were the ones, when I first started reading these, I was like just hitting everybody, but they're very literal. Like they come up extremely, like the symbolism is very literal. Like they don't play around. Like where the tarot
it's so
gets
interesting.
Into, like,
so your decks have different personalities. Is that
absolutely?
Am I saying that? Okay.
Absolutely. I would say
That's
that.
amazing.
I would say they definitely have different personalities. And like the first deck that I ever even got, it's a Rider Tarot deck, and me and Sam McElroy were at the thrift store, and she had read my cards, and I had never really considered reading cards. And then she picked them up and in the bag, like you get at the thrift store that's got a bunch of shit in it. And she was like, "This is for you. These cards are yours." And I was like, "I'm going to take them home. They're going to be missing cards. Like, it's going to be so." No, all the cards were there. So those are kind of like that's what I started with. And really, originally, I was just using them for, to meditate on my life, to learn about where I was at and where I wanted to go, and I'd read them and look for the symbolism, in my own life. And then I was like, I really enjoy this. And then I had gone to New Orleans, and my son and I were coming back, and I found the Nates deck at a gas station. And I was going to buy a deck of Gypsy Tarot cards in New Orleans, but for some reason I never did. And then these were $1.50 in a gas station, and I was like,
wow.
"Do you even know what you have here?"
Sweet deal.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, "These are not regular playing cards." I was like, "These are tarot cards. These are Gypsy Tarot."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, I'm taking these home with me." And then I started
That's
messing
so
with
cool,
them.
Man.
And they're
so how do you know which
very
one to
natural.
use? Do you just intuition?
It depends on the question. Well, like when I hear the question, like when Rachel and I were doing the IntuiTalks live, I'd listen to what the question was about, and depending on what the question is about is which deck I would pick to use.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes. And then, like, if somebody wanted to do, just a one-on-one reading, if I'm going to do something very general, like I let people touch my cards. When I went to I liked it. Like when I went to Spice Radio, every person that I read for shuffled the cards themselves. And then I even let them cut them themselves. And then I read.
Is that not normal? I'm not too familiar with them. Is that like not normal to do that?
Well, from what I heard in the group that, not everybody lets people touch their cards. I haven't had a ton of readings from other people that are live, only, the ones that only a couple, and so I've shuffled them. So I just thought it was natural to allow the other person to shuffle the cards, and then you read it at kind of like a passing of energy. And, but I guess it's not. And, and I suppose if you're doing them online or so on, the other person can't touch them. But, when I've done the live ones, I've really liked it because, like I said, I feel like my cards all have their own kind of personality, and I think
I think that's just fascinating. I think that's
I even let the
fascinating.
people pick
You're
their
the second
decks.
person I've heard say that, so that's really cool. Well, when I first started I tried with them. I'm just not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, not my thing, I guess. But I thought it was really cool, and then I found that one deck that I saw and immediately thought of you.
Yep, and I bought them.
Because it was so pretty.
Yeah.
It was just so neat. Yeah, I'm like, these are the coolest. I didn't even know they made tarot. I just thought all of them were the Rider-Waite, I guess I'm saying
right,
that.
The Rider-Waite deck,
silly.
yeah.
Yeah, I just thought they were all like that.
Well, when I found out about that about Twin Flames, that's when I really started watching tarot card videos and stuff on YouTube, because there are so many tarot readers on YouTube that do, twin flame readings and stuff like that. So when I was super into that, that's when I really started seeing like their different decks and how they were reading, and before that I just kind of read my one little Rider-Waite deck for myself. And then when I started watching them on YouTube, and I was like, wow, these ladies, like, they're, there's so many, and there's oracle cards, and there's chakra cards,
yeah,
and there's like,
I got a deck of oracle cards once. I don't even know how to use them. So that's really, I think that's just so cool though. I love that. I love that there's so many different styles to get messages through. Also, coffee grounds. I have a crystal ball that I got from that I bought, and it's just I named it and everything. I love it, but I don't really use it when I'm reading. I do, like I unwrap it and kind of stare at it sometimes when I'm reading, and to pick an image or something up. But most of it's all in my mind.
I tried the tobaccomancy, where you use smoke and you scry through the smoke.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
And that did, like, it freaked me out how accurate it got, and I was like, okay. I was like, that was pretty cool.
I love it because there's so many. I mean, I'll stare at the carpet sometimes to get images that will pop through, or I mean, it's just amazing. I have popcorn ceilings, so sometimes I'll just kind of look up over in the corner and see stuff. I find that kind of stuff so cool, because I think Spirit is always trying to communicate to us in various ways, and it's going to use any way that it can. So, I mean, cards, tobacco, smoke. I mean, people use water, all kinds of stuff. I'm always fascinated by that stuff.
We know for sure that is certainly a medium. That's,
absolutely.
I've heard different, like, artists and musicians and stuff talk about, well, I paint when there's one woman who was here at my house, Abby Hankins, and she said, I paint when I don't know what else to do. And she's like, if I can't do anything else, then I just paint. And then it's all out and it's gone. And for me, there's definitely times where I'll go through like months where I do it a lot, and then I won't do it again for a while. And it's like come back in and back out of, and back in and back out of. It's like it's something that's always there, but I get very like drawn to do it, and then I'll get drawn to do something else.
Yeah, I love that. All right, well, give me just a second, Salina. I'm gonna make a couple announcements, and then we can get started. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so like I said, we're not going to be on next week, but I'll be back the following week. I'm not sure if I'll be by myself or with somebody else, but I would like to on my next show, I'm going to try to give some free readings, 1 hour whole readings off the show. Maybe a painting, energy painting. So stay tuned for that. I'll have the details up on that. And I kind of also want to bring up the shows that are on IntuiTalks coming up after this show at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock my time. Barbara Day Long is on Curious Times, and if you guys aren't listening to Curious Times, you should, because Chris is hilarious. It's a little too late for my blood, but I always try to catch the replays on Google Play whenever I can. And then Angel Meadows has something coming up also on June the 10th. There's also an art journaling, so there's coming up on the 12th, so that looks pretty cool. And my buddy Kathleen Moore is on Curious Times on the 13th. She just did a live the other day. It was she's excellent. She's a great reader. So check out some of these other shows on IntuiTalks. It's a great platform. I'm hoping more and more people will kind of try to start coming here to be a part of this platform. It's a good community where you can make your own spiritual websites for free. Jenny works so hard to keep it up and running and going. I know that it's got to be a 10-person job, so she's like slaving around the clock trying to make sure stuff get going. And she's just beefed up a bunch of stuff, added a bunch of cool new features. So if anybody out there listening has wanted to make their own spiritual website, this is a great This is a great free place to do that. You can also get packages for doing podcasts, and there's different varieties that you can choose from. So check all that stuff out. This is like I said, this is a really great place for like-minded and unlike-minded individuals to get together. The more differences of opinion and spirituality, in my personal opinion, the better. I don't have a saying where I feel like there's one right answer or my answer is the only way, the way I see is the only way. And that's what I like about this platform is there's a variety of people in the way that they express. And I think that if we're all true to our hearts, that's why we have so many truths. It's because it's a different way for all of us to hear the messages that Spirit is so lovingly trying to get across to so many of us that have our ears closed. So at least mine were for a long time. So all right. All right, let's get started. Now I know there's a Jim that's calling, but I did not see Jim in the call list. So if you're there, Jim, if you can press 1, Jim, then we'll get you on.
Okay.
Oh, you did it. Awesome. Well, Salina's the guest, so I'm going to let her go first. Jim, what's your question?
Well, I'm not really sure. It's a situation where, because of the psychic element and the fact I'm also an empath, have done some similar work over the years, but not quite probably the same tone, I guess is a good way of putting it. I don't know what you guys are picking up on, but Corrine had said that, it might not be a bad idea to check in with you because I'm in the midst of trying to figure out a lot of things of my own, very clear about what it is I want to do, but not sure about how to go about it.
Okay, Salina, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. So you feel uncertain about what you know what you want to do, but you don't know how to get there.
A lot of it comes down. That's true, and a lot of it comes down to the fact that I'm coming at things from a very different angle. I've been on this path for a very long time. Now it's more intense than ever within the last 5 or 6 years, and certainly, like a lot of people, there's some philosophical conflicts that as much as I'm in a position to be able to create a satisfying compromise on my own terms, the thing is also to be able to find people that understand what it is that I'm trying to articulate. I'm involved with some pretty, I don't know quite how to put it, but if I said to you there were similarities in terms of conceptualization between me and both Tesla and Casey, that would not be a complete exaggeration.
Okay.
And basically just being in a position where, given my age, I'm very much a product of my times, and I really have settled into a comfort zone that I'm happy with, and I think that I can do an awful lot within that, and a lot of it comes down to reconciliation for me, and that's what I've been doing and continue to try to do as much as possible, really establish that balance. And I think that, as I say, a lot of other people are doing it in their own way, but the key being trying to identify, and also in the real world as opposed to the virtual world, finding people that are really resonating on the same level from an age group that is somewhere in the middle between, I don't even know how to put it, younger than me, but not so much younger than me, if that makes sense.
And how old are you?
I'm going to be 56 in October.
Oh, right on. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. I was out with a gentleman the other day. He's 57 years old. We went to a hardcore punk show, and it was great. And sometimes, that's not terrible at all. 56 is good, too, because you're also 11 this year, right now, currently. You break down to an 11.
Which I'm not sure what that connotes. I know a little bit of numerological connotations, but it's been a while. Both that and tarot I've been away from quite a bit because I've been focusing more, as I say, the conceptualization stuff is really, really, I'm pushing the envelope big time and trying to simplify to a certain extent. I'm not sure how successful I'm being, but I have my venues that allow me to do that. So, and I guess the reason what I would pose is trying to kind of resolve a lot of different things all at once. I feel that people are really wanting to have independence on their own terms. I think that these times it's a point where it's crying out for that sort of thing. Independence in a way that there's not so much control, hierarchical structures are breaking down and so forth, and that's really where I'm at more than anything else, is it just the discomfort factor. I haven't been involved with any in a very long time, and it seems like we're falling back into a pattern where they're becoming more common. And it's just, the old saying of can't go home again, and I'm not even sure it was home to begin with. I really can't go back there, you know what I'm saying?
Well, then don't.
Yeah. Well, let's. I got a lot of stuff coming forward too. So let's get
right on.
Let's go.
Well, I went ahead and pulled 6 cards on you while you were talking, and basically I've got wanting to move forward with certain aspects and ideas, but that there are it's all thought things, there are things that you need to move away from and walk away from. One of them is you're 56 years old, but it's not very old at all, actually. Human beings nowadays we are all living much longer and healthier, and finding a demographic that is younger than you, with people between the ages of, say, 30 to up to your age, that bracket is much more open now than it would have been before. So this is kind of like a great time for you to be able to move forward, as long as you stay out of a trapped mind frame. Meaning, these are things that you want to do, you're certainly able and capable to do them, and yes, everybody does want to be independent. And the older that we get, it becomes maybe a tad bit scarier, because, like you said, you can't go back anymore. When you're younger, you screw up, you make a mistake, you fix it. But you get older, and it's like, well, I just can't go back to that. So these things have to succeed. And I think that you're going to find the people that are going to resonate with you. You just have to let go of certain ideas. And in fact, instead of thinking that I have to, not necessarily, I've already found them, because you're not going to trick yourself. They're there. Just think to yourself more or less they're there, and I'm meeting them. And then I think if you just change that aspect instead of have to, and move more into I am meeting them, that they'll just start popping up. Does that make sense? I
guess I would also qualify this as I said, I'm very much a product of the times in question, the early to mid 70s, and culturally I don't fit in with the present times. It's just, I've accepted that, I'm certainly open when I hear, for example, in the realm of music, when I hear something that resonates, I'm definitely more about the emotional connection on a very deep level. And with thousands and thousands and thousands of songs at my disposal, it's more about trying to reconnect. I feel there's a lot that's broken right now, and I think that I can be someone that's part of really trying to convey why we were affected by a lot of the things around us, if that makes any sense. It's a situation where
exactly
it's a touchstone factor,
Yeah.
It's more about being in a position where the meaning is so great, and how that has been something that moved our lives. There's been so many, in terms of technology, things have been altered so much, and I tend to be I pull back on the technological aspects in terms of what a lot of people take as givens. I don't have a smartphone. My television and my computer are separate for the most part, not to say I don't watch stuff online, but my computer's pretty much restricted to home for the most part, and if I'm out, I'm not plugged in, you know what I'm saying? And that's, something that I feel is just a good way of being able to proceed, so that I've got more opportunity to contemplate that, and also just because I'm kind of not comfortable with it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, the not
sense.
Comfortable part.
It does make sense. It does make sense, and I feel, and I can't. I'm trying to bite my tongue here.
No, go.
I had such strong energy. So, and my heart is about to be out of my chest with your energy, Jim, which is not a bad thing, because it's not a negative thing. I mean, it's a good thing, because I think you have so much to do and give, and but for a while, my strongest message for you is no more contemplating. No more contemplating for a little while. Take a break. Pull your energy back into the center of your heart, because I know you know how to. one of the coolest things about you is your ability to reject tradition and the way that things go normally. So it gives you an opportunity to view things a lot differently than most people do. You're not nailed down to certain tasks or views or have-tos of the way life is. I think that your heart is open. Not just your heart is open to different opportunities and to wanting to do different things, but your mind is too. So you're not like super closed off, especially when it comes to putting yourself out there. I do think that also agree with Salina that you are going to be connecting in with people that you want to connect into, but it's going to be a while. And the best message, or I guess the strongest message that's coming through to me for you is to stop the contemplating for a while. Stop the overthinking and pull it back in. You're highly intelligent. And because that, you have the tendency to overanalyze a lot of things, which a lot of stuff needs to be overanalyzed because it's important, I think, especially like you mentioned, in these days and age, you want to really kind of open your mind to, or be open and aware to things and know what things are going on and understand how you feel about things and how other people feel about things. And they are trying times right now, but your energy's so blown out and so big, and because you're such an empath, you're pulling so much in right now that your mind needs a break. So I think that when you can pull yourself in just a little bit, that things are going to become much more clear on who you're going to meet, where you're going to meet, and how you're going to meet. I do see that's going to be a ways out. I'm looking at almost 18 months before I start seeing a lot of new connections come in, but I do see a lot of new connections come in. I see them to be a little bit younger than you, but not by far. I'm also seeing some connections come in with some people that aren't necessarily around your age at all, but they have a very like-minded view as you. I almost feel like part of you is born outside of this world, man, and it's so cool to see those colors around you like that too, because they're like super stellar, and it reminds me that the universe is in all of us, and you do carry such a high, energetic flow that I think that you're able to pull in so much information, and not just from your ability of being an empath, but I think because you've developed yourself spiritually over such a long period of time, that you really do have the ability to pull information in, cosmic sort of downloads and stuff like that, to be able to really push you in directions that I think a lot of people are unwilling. I'm also seeing this thing right around your ears kind of opening up. So I do feel like you're getting a lot of information from the other side also. Now, you're not a medium, are you? You talk to spirit?
Well, no, not necessarily. I have a little bit of clairaudience, but that's been quite some time.
Okay.
And what I would say quickly is, I have the sense there's something I need to finish up in terms of the more contemplative stuff. I've already got the ideas. It's just the organization of them in terms of just what I'm contemplating, what I'm envisioning is so far ahead in terms of understanding. It's hard to put into words. It's metaphor. It's metaphor that has been around me, and I've recognized the value of, but now more than ever, I'm in a position where I can kind of bring things full circle, really.
And they're going to need to be said. They're going to need to be said, and they're going to need to be documented more than anything. I mean, as you're talking, I'm getting flooded with energy through my I think that you're really onto some particularly unique things, and I really, Jim, I want you to try to sit down and steady the contemplative part of you and just start channeling this stuff out, banging it out as fast as you can, because I think that's not only going to help relieve some of this stuff, but I think people are going to want to read it and see it and know it and understand it.
I heard something
else. Sorry.
I heard you say something. I think, Shelby, you said something while Celia was speaking.
I'm sorry.
No,
I was thinking of something along the lines of automatic writing and maybe sitting down at a desk, and that's what I was thinking of, is while you're in the contemplative state, if you're documenting, as Shelby said, but to try, just automatic writing, like empty your mind into have you done that before?
Not specifically. I mean, I certainly have stream of consciousness stuff going on.
Yeah, I said don't try to be specific. That's always the first thing. I'm like, I do automatic writing, and then the next day I'm reading back at it going, holy crap, wow, that was super awesome. But not knowing, just the clearing and allowing those things to come through. Because as she said, there's things at your ears. Well, let's get them from your ears to your hands, out your fingers, so that you can see what they are. Does that make sense?
99% of what I want to say is down on paper. As I say, it's just about trying to organize it. Yeah, I've got almost
the organization of it. But you're a river man, and I feel like this is just the beginning of, you might have 99% of it down, but I feel like there's more coming. So get it organized and get it ready, because the time is going to come for you. I think that, there are going to be, and there's some other platforms too, that you can go kind of go on to meet sort of these like-minded individuals. I don't know if you're familiar with Reddit, but there's several subs on there, that you can connect with people which have very, very similar energy to you, and will probably be able to understand and relate, where I don't think just anybody's going to understand what you're talking about, because I think the stuff that you are experiencing is a lot more evolved than a lot of people are, first of all, ready to hear, and second of all, I don't think that they are going to be able to understand it even if they were ready to hear it, which is not a bad thing, but I do think it needs to be documented, and I do think you need to get it down. I would love to keep talking with you, Jim, because I find your energy absolutely fascinating. But I've got to move on. But please keep in touch with me and let me know how it goes.
It makes me super curious. I want to know what it is, Jim.
I'll tell you what. I'll give it.
I'm not seeing it like Shelby is. I'm like wanting to be like, I really want to see what this is now. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure who was talking, so I was a little bit of a disadvantage, but I'm glad you both heard it anyways. I will forward it to Corinne. She can go ahead and forward it to you once I'm done. It won't be long.
Jim.
I'd really like to see it.
No problem at all. I'll make sure of that, and I appreciate the opportunity to share this with you, because certainly it's something that's been on my mind.
I'd really like to get the chance to experience it and see it and read it.
Absolutely.
And all of that.
All right,
yes,
sounds
I'm so happy to meet you, Jim. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. Do you know how to mute yourself?
Not really, no. There's probably some button that I hit, but I'm not sure what that would be.
I think I got James C. Is that you?
Yeah, okay, I actually need to step away. Unfortunately, I've got a bunch of things to do. But
okay.
I appreciate the invitation. You as well, Shelby. You too, Celia,
right.
and have yourselves a great show, great weekend. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, man, that guy almost blasted me out of my chair. What a cool energy. What a cool energy. Okay.
I'm excited to see what's come out of him and what he's created. Like, for real, I want to see it. I hope Corinne sends it to me.
Yeah,
me
too.
Like to
me
see
too.
It.
I'm sure a lot of people will. All right. So, is there anybody else that's on the call list that wants to get a reading? Go ahead and if you're in chat. Okay, Jenny. I have a hard time understanding this. It's me, not you. I see a Joyce D. If you're there, you can. You want a reading? Or in Edmonton. I guess those are the two hanging, right? I don't know. Okay. It's okay, Martin. It's okay. All right. Joyce, are you there?
Hi. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm actually not Joyce.
Oh, that's okay.
We share a
Oh, okay. That's no big deal. All right. What's your question? I'll let Salina go first.
What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay. With an H at the end?
Right now because we know each other.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, with the H at the end.
Okay. Do you have a question, Sarah, that you want to ask?
Yeah. I don't know if I have an actual question. I was just thinking, I don't know how you like to do things. I know kind of like when I'm doing readings, I sort of just don't like to have questions sometimes. So I was like, just kind of see what, you pick up on kind of thing. Is that cool with y'all or?
That's fine with me.
I can think of a question too if you want.
Oh yeah, try to think of a question. Yeah.
I know you, Sarah.
I know you do.
I just looked at you and I'm like, oh, That's Sarah. Cool. Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry, Salina. Go ahead.
Oh, no. That's totally fine. That's good. The more y'all talk, the more that I'll get to, like, feel it out. So that's good.
I've never heard your voice before, so that's so cool. That's very neat. I saw that. I always see that big old star right there on your head. I said, I know her. So you just want a general reading, right?
I think so, yeah.
Sarah is going to be a guest on my show in the future, in case you guys didn't know.
Oh my goodness, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. She's extremely talented.
So
great. I always get nervous when you read for other readers. It's always like, oh, great, we're going to do something different.
Seriously, I was cracking up, though, because I was listening on my way home from work, and, like, a lot of the things y'all were saying, I was, like, texting to Martin, and then you'd say the same thing. I was just cracking up. So I was like, okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Oh, you guys were having a side convo, huh?
Coach Square. We were like the peanut gallery. Oh, they're so good.
All right, well, let's talk about your home and your heart. Have you had anything that is changed in your home lately?
Been doing a lot of gardening.
A lot of gardening, like around the building and around your home?
Yep, doing it. Actually, just brought home some cuttings from a little plant I got from work, actually. And then I've been kind of redoing this outdoor space outside and planting stuff inside. And yeah.
And that's something that you feel super passionate about, is gardening?
Yeah, it makes me feel really peaceful.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
I love it.
Then
my feet are tingling.
So, is there a particular, like, friend of yours that is on your mind? You said you were just talking to somebody while you having a side conversation on your way over to talk to us. Do you and this person, like, have any kind of travel plans together, things that you're going to be doing?
Travel?
Yeah, or just, yeah, like actually, traveling or moving moving into doing something together, either or.
Yeah, they're actually coming up to visit next month.
Oh, so great. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I also see that you're going to get some information very soon about something that has been kind of a burden to you in your life, something that that has caused you to feel like super, I guess burden is probably the best word, but you're going to get some knowledge and some information about it coming up soon. I don't know exactly what that particular thing is, but you're going to get to know more about the causes of it and why it's happened and why things have turned out to be that way.
Huh. Interesting. I wonder if it's, do you know, like, in what aspect it's related to?
Let me see what aspect that is related to, because that's what's kind of coming up. Let's see. Let's draw another card.
I wish I could do cards.
You know, I'm trying. I'm getting a little better all the time at it.
I have another
friend. Okay. Something like with something new that you want to start or begin, but there's something that's been making you feel as if you can't start and begin it, that burden, like that thing that's standing in your way. And that's what you're going to get new knowledge about, how that is, not necessarily a real thing, but something that you place in the way for yourself. Is that resonating at all?
Yeah. I think it's actually connected to work. Program, and it's been a pain in the ass to set up.
Yeah. I have friends that work with computers, and it is always a pain in the ass to at different times for them to do things, and then it's like this big pain in the butt, and then figure out how it works and how to change it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Oh, thank you.
Well, that's what I've gotten pulled up. Shelby, do you have anything?
Yeah, Sarah, because I'm seeing that, I don't know if this has happened recently or if this is something that is happening right now, but I'm seeing a disconnect with the intuition in a way. And you're a strong clairvoyant also. I know that you see a lot because I can see that big symbol on your forehead. But more than anything, I felt like there was a disconnect and there were some things around that. And the first thing that I go into this is I'm not sure if you're in a relationship right now or if there's struggles internally with a close relationship that you're having. This would be a partner, a romantic partner, or somebody that you have those strong feelings for, maybe not necessarily romantically, but a strong connection to. Does that make any sense to you?
I mean, I'm in a relationship, but I'm really happy and content in it.
That's okay, because I'm going to keep going forward with the information. It's okay. It's okay. Let me just keep going with it, because I feel like that may be part of the swing with the whole intuition thing. So I'm not saying that you're disconnected. You're disconnected from it because something bad happened in the relationship. But I don't know if it's swaying something or if you've been spending more time with that person or whatever. But the relationship itself is about to change. And I don't mean it's going to change like end. I don't mean it's going to change like you guys are going to have like a huge blow up or anything like that. But I do see. So don't take this the wrong way, but it's just a symbol that I see. I see that it's my symbol for. I'm just going to say it's changed. I'm not even going to describe it to you because I don't want to make it sound bad because it's not bad. But I do think it's going to take on a new form. I see there being a lot. What comes out of it though is a lot more openness. And what I'm also seeing, Salina kind of mentioned something, some information coming forward that you've been sort of waiting for, and I'm seeing that come forward with that change in your relationship. I'm seeing it him handing it to you in a way. So are you going to get married?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's probably what it is. And the feelings around the first part of the energy line have a lot to do with you're hot. Your energy's hot.
Sorry.
It could have a lot to do with feelings behind it, you know? So it could have a lot to do with the feelings behind it, or there's nervousness even or anxiety behind it. But there is a death coming to that part. I hate to say that word, but there is a death coming to that part of your relationship that is going to change significantly. And you are going to be presented with a new opportunity with the person. I think more so than anything, what happens is there's a reconnection with your intuition. So whatever's been going on there, if it's just been stagnant is the feeling that I'm getting. Like it's not abnormally slow, but there's nothing new happening. Does that make sense? I think so. The way the eye is showing itself to me is monotony. So it's repetitiveness. It's the same thing over and over. There's not a lot of new. So last year in the summertime, I guess summer or something, into summer, you had a big download of information or a big shift in your energy, if that makes sense. And I think the same thing is coming again, and that's what I'm talking about, the stagnant, the monotony of doing readings. It's the sameness. But I think there's going to be a development happening with your intuition. It is connected somehow to your partner and the changes that are coming with that, and it could be because you are clearing out a lot of the stuff from the past and going into this new relationship, which has a lot of strong and new energy to it. So it could bring forward a lot of happiness, and especially if you're experiencing a lot of love at that time, it could open things up to you a little bit differently. Now, you also do energy work with people?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I think I feel like that's going to get a lot. You're going to have a lot more hands-on opportunities for that also to be coming up. So it's really cool the way all of it's sort of connected together. So I guess you guys are really close, you and your partner.
We are.
Because a lot of your energy is connected to and the things that are going on with you in your life and how you were doing are actually connected to him.
It's
if that
really
makes
bizarre.
sense.
Like, no, it totally makes sense. Like, it
Okay.
sounds crazy. It's funny because you had mentioned the twin flame thing earlier. And, like, I never used to believe in that shit. Sorry, excuse my tongue.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Right? Oh my God. But like,
but you feel the connection with him is so strong that you have considered because the whole backside of your all your chakras, and I mean they're all like, you guys are back to back. Does that make sense?
Yes, I've seen it before. Like, it's so funny you said that, because we'll sometimes just be laying there and I'll be like, I just love looking at the connection between our energies and our like chakras.
They click in, they work well together. So there's just, I mean, it's very, it's unique in the way that it almost looks like puzzle pieces, and they just click together. But it's when you're standing, and I'm not sure. I will have to think a little bit longer on the whole why you're standing back to back like that. But but the energy goes from each of your backs out into the other side, and then I can see it push forward from either side of you. So it's almost like you've created this vortex around yourself. So in essence, you're operating your day-to-dayness, not just in your own energy, but also his, and that can be a really cool thing, and it can make people feel really, but it can also have an effect on you also if things aren't going well between you. So there may need to be a little bit of just a little bit of detachment between the energy enough to that you will be able to function okay. If he has a bad day and he's 30 miles away from you, you know it instantly. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. It makes sense all the
time. There's such a I'm wondering how much of what you feel, do you have pretty good discernment to know when you're feeling him versus yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Sometimes I'll just text and be like, all right, so I just got this weird little nauseous feeling, and then he'll say, my stomach wasn't feeling well. I was like, okay, I thought it was you. Like things like that.
Yeah, okay. Well, do keep an eye on that. I think it's really. Do what?
I think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Oh no, it's fine. Like, where the meditation and mindfulness has really helped me a lot, along with with him, and also in readings. I've kind of grown really in tune with how it feels in my body when I'm feeling something versus how it feels when I'm getting somebody else's stuff and I'm looking at it and feeling.
It's really cool, and your colors are always they're always so pretty when I see them. But they're and I'm so glad you called. I want to keep talking. I know that Salina does have to go a little bit early, so we are going to end a little bit early tonight. But I do want to tell you I'm so grateful that you called. It's so good to finally hear your voice. We always do text chatting, but it was really neat to identify you through your energy. You're so pretty.
Oh, you too.
And I'll be really, really glad when you come on my show. I'm really excited about that. I love your vision that you have. So this is and you see things real similar to the way that I do also. So it'll be fun. That'll be a fun show.
Wild. It will. Like, I love it. Yeah. I say to Martin.
Well, listen, I want to see pictures of the ring when you get it, because I think it'll, and if you get a ring, I mean, it may be something a little different. I don't know, he seems like a pretty unique guy. He may end up with something else. Either way, it's going to be cool, and the relationship is going to change.
Yeah. It's really so nice to be with someone who just like your shared joy in life and happiness together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, especially when you guys connect like that. It's pretty.
Oh, totally. Oh, yeah, we'll have to catch up sometime. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll message you. No, thank you. Thank you so much for calling, and I'll catch you soon, okay?
Right.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I cut her off. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so Salina does need to get going, so we are going to wrap up just a little bit earlier. I'm sorry for the people that called that didn't get a chance to I get long-winded sometimes when I'm doing these readings, and then I can't help that.
You can't help that. That's just what happens. And I sometimes I feel like I'm just still so new. I'm staring at the cards, and then what's going to happen is as soon as she's not there, I'm going to think of a million more things that I needed to say to her. That's what's been happening to me. I'm like, I got to text this person. I just thought of what you did, and then I'm like, okay, there you go. Now I'm done.
No, I think that's that's really interesting too. I mean, we have just 5 minutes, so I'm going to keep talking for just a second, Salina.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting and important to kind of. I'd love to spend the last few minutes just talking about the newness of somebody coming into their to their self, right? So, and I asked Corrine last time she was on my show, and I said, what would you tell somebody that is just coming in, developing themselves? What would you tell them? I mean, you know that a lot of these people are either surrounded by fear or even ego or not even any of those. Sometimes it's just pure love, but there's confusion. So what would you tell somebody that's brand new coming into their truth?
Not necessarily look, but if you can find other people who are like you, that has been, a true savior, I guess, in a sense for me. Because even though I feel like myself, I've throughout my entire life been very awake. A couple years ago, I went through this massive purging and changing, and all of this stuff was happening to me. And you were certainly one of the very important person with me throughout all of that. It's important to have at least one other person that you can talk to that doesn't think you're crazy, because it's to find, if you can, at least one other person that you can be like, I just had this experience, and that you trust and that you can be open with, because feeling like you're all alone can be a really horrible experience, and you're not alone. There are so many of us like this. There are so many of us who are like this, way more people. That's one of the things I wanted to tell Jim when he was on here. There are so many more of us from all different age groups and all different, brackets, from very, from old to very, very young, that are way more open than we think at first. Because I know I've spent half my life, not even half my life, but it's always there are these people I can talk to about this, and there are these people that I can't talk to about it. And then it started to feel like those people I can't talk to about it became more than the people that I could. And then I started talking about it again and realized that's entirely not true. There are a lot of us, even if you live in some small town. That's what the internet's for. Get on there, but be discerning, when I found out about the twin flame thing, I had studied it. I didn't join those groups. I was just no, that's not where this is going for me. Be discerning in what you choose. Seek out knowledge and learning and things like that, and then find people that you feel safe with.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. I'd like to add to that, to find somebody that's not just going to take your money and say,
"Oh yeah, don't pay people." I'm
not going to take. Not going to take your money and then just and tell you that they're the truth, the way, and the light. Because everybody should be led back to themselves, because the power to succeed and move forward is within everybody. It doesn't belong. I even tried when I was first coming into all this awareness with my own mentor, trying to put her on a pedestal, and she would just, bat it away.
Yep.
It was look me in the eyes. Don't look up to me. Don't look down to me. Look me in the eyes. And it was through that process and understanding that I am her, she is me, and we are all one. We're the same. We're the same thing. Everybody's got, we're all unique, just like everybody else. Everybody's unique.
Exactly.
Everybody. Right. And so there's a sameness in that, and I know that there's people, I would also say you're going to find tons of information, and you're going to hear lots of people that you don't like. You don't like the things that they say. They either make you uncomfortable, or you just think they're full of crap, or whatever. It doesn't matter. You take what you like, and you leave the rest, leave the judgment behind with all that. All of that, bringing on all the hate into all of that, if somebody does not resonate with you, it's okay, because they are going to resonate with someone else, and that is why we have different people on this planet, so that everybody has someone else to relate to. And I cannot reiterate that enough, because I think amongst the spiritual community in particular, we need to drop that judgment crap, embrace one another, love one another, and be kind to one another.
Yep.
So anyway, I know you got to go, Salina. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for everybody. The chat's been talking, and I've missed almost everything. So I'm sorry if anybody
I
asked
don't even
any
get to
questions
see
in
the
there.
chat, so you have to tell me what it says. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I want to hear what the chat says.
Everybody's saying how awesome you are.
Oh, well,
so,
hey. Connect with me then, because I want to hear one of the most, I love to hear everybody else's experiences. Like, for real. I want to know what your life has been like, what you've been doing, like how things have affected you. And I'm probably one of the very least judgmental people you're ever going to meet, because it's kind of hard to shock me. But even sometimes if it does shock me, then hey, great, even better, because I want to hear about it. So yeah, please look up the stuff.
Hey, that's what I did. I would put all your links in the chat room. I'd put your picture up and I announced it over. So if you missed any of that, listen to the archives and get in touch with Salina.
Yeah.
And lastly, you guys be good to each other, be kind to each other, and remember that we're all in this together. So we can't keep fighting amongst ourselves, and we've got to
and this
pull
is
together.
Spirituality, and you can't do it wrong. That's the thing. I think most people, that you can't do it wrong. So if something doesn't resonate with you anymore, then you choose something else. You just make a different choice. You're not going to do it wrong.
I used to listen to, I used to put my headphones on in the morning when I got to work, and I would listen to Chris's show, Curious Times, which she's on tonight, by the way, if anybody wants to watch. But she, and I would listen to it, and there's a group of people that I would listen to all the time. And those people, they were a catalyst for a lot of me not being scared to open up and do the things that I did. So definitely, go out and find podcasts and share information and get in as much as you can. All right, Salina, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll keep talking. I love you guys. Right. Have a great night.
I love you.
And thank you for coming to the show. Bye.
All right, bye.